Hello everyone, this is I equals e to the I pi, and this is a video commentary of game number 3 for the semifinal match between NEET and Zero Quantity for the August 2011 Hero Attack Tournament. So as a spoiler, Team NEET has won their last two games in this series, so they're up 2-0 in a best of 5. So that means that Team Zero Quantity needs to win their next 3 games, otherwise Team NEET will move on to the finals. And since Zero Quantity has lost their last 2 games, they get to pick the map for this game. Now, in the past 2 games, both teams have chosen to go for their preferred races and heroes, with Team NEET choosing Protoss and Team Zero Quantity choosing Terran. But it hasn't really worked out very well for Team Zero Quantity, so I'd really like to see them try something different this game, since what they have been trying hasn't really worked. So it appears that Zero Quantity has chosen to go for the snow map, and I think that's a really good decision, primarily because the ganking strategy that Team NEET has been using won't be very effective, and that's primarily due to this large ridge in the center, which you know it makes ganking very hard, and it forces all the units to go through either the south or the north. And because of this ridge, in general, airplay is slightly stronger, since you gain, air units can fly over this ridge, so you gain a very nice mobility advantage over, ground heroes. And so on this map, the special terrain feature is called Ice, and there are 2 patches of ice, as you can see here and here. And what ice does is that when ground units are ice, it's extremely slippery, so the ground units can't turn or stop. So that's just something to consider when playing on this map. And like other maps, there are critter spawn locations such as here, 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 and here. And there are also 2 Naga watchtowers in the north and the south, as you can see here, and here. So starting the game, we see that Team NEET has in fact decided to go Zerg rather than Protoss on this map, and I think that's a good decision since, as I said, their ganking strategy that they've used on the past 2 maps isn't very strong due to that ridge. And Team Zero Quantity, on the other hand, has chosen to go for the Archon, the Dark Archon, the Dark Templar, and the Phoenix. So I think that's exactly the heroes that Team NEET has used in their past 2 games. So I think Team Zero Quantity has basically decided, well, what we have been using in the past hasn't been very effective, so we're gonna do what you do. But I'm not sure if they realize that the strategy that Team NEET has been using in the past 2 games isn't that effective on this map, since you can't really gank due to this ridge. But either way, it should be pretty interesting to see how this game goes. So you have the Lurker hero on Team NEET trying to pull an Ursadak to gain additional experience, so that's quite nice. And the Ursadak explodes. In the north lane, we have the Roach hero and the Queen hero versus the Archon and the Dark Archon. And in the south lane, we have the Defiler and the Lurker versus the Phoenix and the Dark Templar. I'm not quite sure if I agree with this choice of lane distribution by Team Zero Quantity, because yeah, I just don't think the Dark Templar hero doesn't work very well with the Phoenix hero, since it can't hit air, so you can't really benefit from the Phoenix hero's anti-gravity ability. I'd probably much rather see probably the Dark Archon with the Phoenix hero and the Dark Templar hero with the Archon, but it's not really that big of a deal. The heroes are almost level 1 right now. They'll reach level 1 shortly. We see that the Defiler has chosen Dark Swarm, which reduces damage taken by friendly units by a percentage in a large AoE area. So that's a very useful ability. Some people argue that it's overpowered. We see that the Queen has gone for Spawn Larva, and I know that in one of their games against Zerg Team 1 in the round of 8, Team NEET actually used this same hero composition, and what they did is they used the Queen's Larva to block unit spawns, and then they would unleash the unit spawns a while later. So they might be attempting to do that, and it appears they are doing that because the Queen Hero is sending all the larvae to mid. Unfortunately, they're being attacked by these critters, so a larva has been killed. But yeah, I think that might be what might be what they're trying. And actually, for Team Zero Quantity, they faced like the exact same strategy in the round of 8, by another team. And in both that game that Zero Quantity played in the round of 8 and the game that Team NEET played in the round of 8, where they used a strategy, the team that did the blocking lost. So, but in both games it wasn't executed very well. So it would be nice to maybe see Team NEET actually execute the larva blocking strategy effectively. As you can see, the front is already blocked, or for the most part blocked. There might be a small gap that Lynx can get through, and I would like to see Team NEET block multiple lanes. I know in the game against Zerg Team 1, which they lost, they didn't block all the lanes, and they just didn't do the strategy effectively. So it'd be nice to see the strategy performed effectively. We see that the Queen Hero has chosen to get Creep Trimmers as a second skill, and that's always useful since it allows you to move faster, and especially when you're the Queen Hero, since the Queen Hero doesn't move very fast off of creep. At bottom, we see that the Dark Templar and the Phoenix Hero are fighting the Lurker and the Defiler. The Lurker pulled the Phoenix Hero with its Silk Thread ability and has managed to do quite a bit of damage to the Phoenix Hero, and the Defiler Heroes has used Plague to further weaken the Phoenix Hero. So the Phoenix Hero might want to go back soon. I would like to see maybe a Warp Gate a bit later in the game when they decide to go back, but they don't need to go back right away. The Roach Hero has Gun Regeneration and a Corrosive Acid ability, which is fairly nice. It allows you to deal extra damage to enemy heroes. The Corrosive Acid allows you to do extra damage to enemy heroes. And the regeneration just helps you survive longer, so that's a good spell composition for laning. The Lurker Hero is chosen Ensnare as its level 2 ability. I don't really agree with that. I'd much rather see Impale, since it does damage and it can stun units, and or the Cocoon ability that the Lurker has, which can allow you to recover life. Ensnare isn't that great in the early game, since there aren't that many units. It's an AoE ability, and there aren't that many units for it to affect, so it's just not that great right now. Not that much is happening right now. All the heroes are laning, just trying to gain an experience or mineral advantage over their opponent, but for the most part it's fairly even. I don't know where the Phoenix Hero went. I hope I didn't miss it. I didn't miss it or something. No, look at the Phoenix Hero just went back for items. Oh, and at the Zerg team's base, we can see that the Queen Hero has completely blocked off the creeps, the units. So it appears that they're very much going to try to do this creep blocking strategy, which they failed to do against Team Zerg in the round of 8. So, but so far they're executing it much better than they did in the last game. They should probably wait, just a few minutes for creeps to get up and then try to push. But if Team Zero Quantity gets aware of this, they can purchase some AoE spells, or if they know how to fight it, they can definitely hold it off. So it depends if they're aware of it yet. I think they might be puzzled why critters aren't spawning. I haven't seen anything in chat that could indicate that they're confused, but they could be speaking in like Ventrilo or something. So that doesn't indicate much. We see that the DT and the Phoenix Hero are pushing bottom. We see that the Queen Hero and the Lurker Hero have decided to go back. I'd probably like to see them bring maybe a Nidus Canal with them, so that they can do push, so they can reinforce the push quicker. And right now they've trapped 3 heroes in their base, so they're probably going to have to unleash all these units soon. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to lane. They're not going to be able to prevent Team Zero Quantity from killing all their buildings. So yeah, so Team what's it called? Team NEET has decided to release all these larvae along with all the zerglings and roaches, and they're doing it for all the lanes. So we can see that a bunch of these units are sliding around on ice. So yeah, I think Team Zero Quantity is aware of it, and they're probably going to try to stop these units as quick as possible. The Archon getting Immolation is actually a really good choice in this scenario, since the larvae and the zerglings from the Zerg team don't have very much life, so the AoE abilities of the Archon should be very strong to help defend this push. But the Archon goes down due to a nice Silk Thread ability by the Lurker hero. We have some larvae just sitting around, not really enforcing the push by Team NEET. Looking at experience, we see that both teams are fairly even, with Team NEET slightly ahead, but that's expected since Team Zero Quantity wasn't getting creeps for a while. I mean, they weren't getting units that they could kill for experience. But that will probably change quickly if Team Zero Quantity defends this effectively. And if I were Team Zero Quantity, I might consider getting maybe a defense upgrade, since they're going to go through all your defenses quickly, and that can really help defend this push, and maybe take this game into the later game probably with an advantage.